Hey guys, this is Rene, welcome back for another video. And what can I say? In the last week we were all blaming Trump, but now I finally have to admit he was right. It is just too much winning. I'm tired of winning.
This video is presented by BM Trading. Learn to code your own expert advisors. Link in the description.
This is of course partly a joke, but not completely, because the live trading account is looking much better than it was like 1 week ago. We're talking about 50,000 euro equity. We're talking about 15,000 euro profits on a single day. So this is a little bit confusing. There were deposits, etc., etc. So a lot of stuff going on in this account. And in this video, I want to bring you up to date so you can still follow this project and you don't have to be super confused as you probably are right now. So we will talk a little bit about what happened at the markets. We will talk about how the strategies behaved, how they performed in these crazy times, and about all of the measurements or the things that I did to kind of support this account to live longer. Because about 1 week ago, when let's have a look at the indices, for example US Tech, when we were at this very lowest point here, the account was in a very bad spot. The equity at the worst was down to 3,000 euro, and I'm not going to fool you or lie to you. At this point I was just lucky because it was super close to hitting the stop out levels, the margin calls. And this is because I always said I don't want to keep so much money in this account, and I still think that this statement is correct, because if you're trading leveraged products and you don't really need all of the money in the account, then it's probably not super wise to have all of the money in the account. But if historical events like this happen, and we also have to I want you to understand that this drawdown that we saw, it's not like a super normal drawdown in the stock markets. This was kinda a more heavy drawdown, and I reacted too slow. So in these drawdown periods where I could foresee that it will have a strong impact on my account, or it could have a strong impact on my account, I should have acted earlier and deposited more money into this account, just to be sure that I do not get this stop out or margin call. And I was a little too late. So at this point I deposited more money, and I did two payments here. So the first payment is this 10,000 euro deposit that I did on, I think, a Friday. So it 2, 3, 4, wait, where was the Friday? And then here we are 7th. So on this Friday here during the day, or I think actually during the morning hours, I deposited the 10,000 euro into this account. But unfortunately, and this is kind of normal, it takes 1, 2, or 3 days for the broker to receive the payment and then credit it to the actual trading account. And this is what caused a lot of problem, because at the Monday here, the 7th of April, when the market opened, it was fortunately for me a very positive day. But here, with this little dip after the market open, this was where it was really like dramatic for the account, and here it was down to like 3k. And if I would have hit the margin call here, or if the broker would have started to close my positions, this would have been very, very bad for the account. So again, let me summarize this. It's not like my mistake was not to stick to the strategies or to just keep on trading as I did before. This was completely right, and this is what I always want to do in negative periods. I just stick to my strategies because I tested them over a long period of time. And of course, there can be always like black swan events, things that have never happened before. And don't get me wrong, like this account, this project, it could totally crash. But this is what can happen. But what should not happen is the mistake that I did, and I acted too slowly and deposited the money not quickly enough. So I should have done it, I don't know, probably around here, but I just did not expect these huge negative days. And some of these days were, I think, like minus 5 to 7%, which is kind of unusual for the big stock market indices. But yeah, that's the story about the deposits. So there's this 10K deposit, which was credited then on the Tuesday of the last week. And then I made another 20K deposit, which was credited, I think, one day later. On like the Wednesday or Thursday. So yeah, this is why I added like 30K more to the account. So let's have a look at how it looks now. So overall, we can see here, and this is getting a little bit confusing. I totally understand that, but we can see here in total I deposited 45,000 euro to the account now and withdrew 25,000. So the net of this is, the net balance is 20,000 euro. So I, at this point, 20,000 euro of the balance here come from my own pocket. So 20,000 euro were deposited in total if I sum up all of the deposits and withdrawals. And since the account is now at 51,000 euro, we can also see it in the history. The profit is 31,000 euro at this point. So yeah, that's basically the story about the deposits. So let's talk a little bit about the overall, like how the indices behaved. All of this confusion or this strong volatility that we see in the markets right now, it is, and that's my understanding, it's mainly caused by the Trump, the American president, who is playing around with his tariffs. He is creates new tariffs for different countries, for pretty much every country in the world, as I understood it, and that was causing this big market decline. I don't know if we can talk about a crash, because overall we can probably talk about a crash, but at this point it's not a super big crash. I think it's not even 30%, so at this point you should not go crazy. This can be a lot worse. But yeah, then went down for about 30%, or let me give you like more accurate numbers. If we go from the top here, and this is the tech index, we went down around, let's say, 26%. And the good thing here is, and this is also, maybe I can use this here to explain a little bit more why I am very happy with my GoLong strategy. I get this question all of the time, like why I even use this strategy, why I don't just use a ETF. And I try to answer the comments below the videos always. I explained a little bit about how leverage products work and stuff like this, why they have more trading costs, and I hope that some people following will understand. I unfortunately have the feeling that many people do not understand what leverage products are, and maybe my explanations are not good enough. But on the other hand, please, before you trade leverage products, learn a little bit about them so you really understand it, because that's really crucial if you want to get into trading. But yeah, so one of the major benefits, and this is also what I saw a lot in the testing of the GoLong strategy, this is one of the biggest factors actually. Since I have this 1 hour gap in the night, I can benefit very strongly from gaps. So we can see, for example, here from the 2nd of April to the 3rd of April, we saw a 1.4% gap. So this is basically where I would have lost if I just traded a ETF. But since my GoLong strategy closes the trade on the evening and opens in the next morning, I did not realize this loss. So this is basically where I have an advantage with my GoLong strategy over ETFs or products like this, or strategies where I'm always invested. So do not forget this, and it can have a major impact actually on the performance, because this was just 1.4%, but we saw this again, and this made me really happy. Like over the weekend from the 4th of April to the 7th, we saw a gap which is a major gap actually, 4.5%, and this can really make a huge difference, because this is so much money. If I would have realized this with the leverage that I take in this account, 4.5% would be around, or would be more than 2,000 euro. And I just saved myself from this 2,000 euro loss because of the GoLong strategy and how it works. So please do not underestimate the impact of these downwards gaps. And your argument might be now, we can also see this in the other direction. And this is absolutely true. We can also see it in the other direction, and we've seen it multiple times in the past weeks. There can also be days where the market close is below the market open, and then I will lose out on profit. But historically, and we saw this, and I did all of the analysis videos on this account, you can look them up. We saw this especially during events like, for example, the COVID, or now like this tariff war that Trump starts. The downwards gaps, they're usually a lot bigger. So I think overall this should be a net positive factor for this strategy. And this is why I'm still super confident with this GoLong strategy. I have absolutely no regrets trading this strategy. Of course, in the last weeks, I was a little bit questioning myself. Am I using too much leverage, etc., etc.? Of course, I also have these questions and I think about it. But the strategy itself, I don't really have any doubts. I think for my account, it's a good idea. The only question that I have is if I'm using too much leverage. But in the end, if you want to make a lot of money in the markets, you have to risk a lot of money. And I'm absolutely surprised by the comments that I can read in the live chat every day. If there are these strong moves, like people are going crazy, like they say I over leverage, they say this, they say that, they say the volatility in the account is too big, but at this point I just question myself, like what the education of my viewers actually is, and if I should talk about this more, because you really need to understand, like, if you want to make a lot of money trading, you have to risk a lot of money. There's no way around this. And if you cannot stand the fluctuation or the volatilities that you see in my account, then this is a good sign for you that you are not ready to trade with a lot of capital, or capital that I use, because these fluctuations in my account, I would say they're pretty normal if you use high risk and short-term trading strategies. And if you're not ready for this, then just don't trade. I mean, it's not a problem. Not everyone has to be a trader, but if you want to make a lot of money, you really have to understand that it comes at a big risk. And I know that this is it's funny that this is probably controversial on YouTube, but it is just what it is. And of course, other people don't say this because it's not sexy, but it's just the truth. And I know that this will not sell any courses or stuff, but you have to face the facts. And if you want to make a lot, you have to risk a lot. That's just how the game works. There's no such thing as risk-free money in the markets. Okay, so this was the US tech. Let's quickly go through the other indices, like for example the DE40, which is the German index. And in all of these indices we kind of see the same picture, like the DE40 from the highest point was also down quite a bit, didn't lose as much as the US indices. Here we were down like 20%, for example, in the at the worst day, but the rest is pretty similar. Like we see similar things here. Like for example, see here, like this is a very strong gap where I kind of saved myself 2%, and then we saw it again here over this weekend here, saved me again like 2.5%. I mean, it's not really like, it's not free money, which I say as a joke sometimes, but still it's a big benefit that my GoLong strategy has over like traditional investment or buy and hold investments. And yeah, besides this, it just went down, it went up again with the GoLong strategy. Pretty normal stuff here. Nothing really to explain. Let's go to the last market real quick, which is US 30. And this boy, it's pretty much the same story every single time, right? We also lost, let me check the daily chart. Like from the highest point, this market lost a little bit more than the German market, I think. Oh no, it's pretty much the same, around 20% in its peak. And yeah, that's can be considered a normal drawdown, by the way, in stock markets. It's not dramatic, it's not crazy, it's pretty normal. Like crazy things happen if it's like 50% or more. But this is like absolutely normal. Yeah, nothing to worry about actually. And yeah, so we saw the same thing here. Got a few of these gaps, which was super good for most of my strategies. And yeah, talking about strategies, let's have a look at the trade buddy in a second to make some more in-depth analysis, because we did not only see trades in the GoLong strategy, we also saw trades in the turnaround Tuesday strategy, which, and let me zoom in one more time, which was partly unfortunate, but in the end was still, I mean, profitable, so I should not be sad here. But this was the Monday when the turnaround Tuesday strategy opened the position, and this was at the highest point 7% in profit, because we saw these like crazy recovery days at the beginning of the week, and then another crazy recovery day here on Wednesday, obviously. But yeah, this was like 7% on 2 days, but unfortunately it turned around a little bit on the later stages in Tuesday. So I just realized around 2% with the turnaround Tuesday strategy, which is still absolutely great, of course, but it's way less than it could have been. And just imagine this would have been the Tuesday. I mean, the account would be at a completely different stage at this point. But as you know, if we're trading, we should not talk with these like ifs and whens, because we can just talk about what actually happened. And yeah, and I didn't realize the profits, or the strategy didn't, so let's not talk about it too much. Okay, so that's a rough overview. Also, you can always visit my IC Trading 50k live signal on MQL5. I set this as like $5K US dollar rent per month, because I do not want you to copy this. I just want to be transparent. And here you can also see like all of the trades and everything that happens, like the monthly profits and losses, the withdrawals and deposits that I make. And you can see we are at a pretty good spot. And here you can also see actually the always accurate profit. And also like what I talked about, I had my initial deposit, then like the additional deposits and the withdrawals. So the net out of this is like currently 20k of my own money sitting in this account, and the rest is obviously profit. So yeah, make sure to check out the signal if you want to learn more about the individual trades and stuff. And also, I promise to have a little bit more of a look at the overall like performance, the strategies, etc., in the trade buddy. And this is actually the best possible view that I can deliver to you and also to myself of the performance, because here everything is like normalized at the 50k account size that I do trade here, and this is without all of the deposits and withdrawals. So this is just showing the net profit that happened in this account. And we can see the all-time high here was at 88,000, so 38,000 euro profit. We are not at this point yet, but the recovery is actually very strong already. We are like 7k away from the high. And if we put this into relation to the indices, this is what actually is the biggest win for me, because the recovery of the equity was already kind of strong, and the recovery of the drawdown here in the major indices is not as strong as the recovery in my equity. Which means that if we see new all-time highs here in the stock market indices, we will most likely also see new all-time highs or surpass the all-time highs already in the trading account here. So yeah, that's it. Let's have a look at the key figures real quick. Here we can also see again the net profit, all of the other key figures. Maximum drawdown is around 25% here, calculated from the highest point. I don't know if this is correct. Oh yeah, I think it should be correct. From 88,000 we went down like 22,000, which is pretty much exactly 25%. So yeah, you can see everything's alrighty. So let's have a look at some of the filter mechanisms here to, let's say, I want to go for like GoLong stuff here and turn on Tuesday and maybe all of the other strategies. So I'm filtering for the whole period, and we can see now at this point the GoLong strategy is profitable again for US 30. If we view the GoLong strategy for US tech, we see the same. It's again super profitable, and yeah, like this last I think it was Wednesday with a like 10% or so increase in the stock market indices. It just was the craziest boost in for the GoLong strategy in all of these markets. Also here, this is D40. But yeah, GoLong strategy is pretty obvious. It just kind of follows the market. Let's talk about the turnaround Tuesday strategy. So in DE40, we have the turnaround Tuesday strategy, and this was actually negative in the last week, but the US tech turnaround Tuesday was very positive, had a nice profit here, around €800 last week with the turnaround Tuesday strategy. And I think in US 30 it was even better. No, it was not, but it was still a €470 profit, which brings it close to the break-even level again with the turnaround Tuesday strategy in US 30. So that's for the turnaround Tuesday strategy. Let's talk about the last strategy, range breakout. And here I'm especially curious for Euro US dollar because there were a few trades. But first let's start with US 30. US 30 is currently not positive with range breakout EA. Let's go to DE40. I think is also slightly negative. But now let's go to the actually profitable markets like USD Japanese yen. Very profitable at this point. I think also some winning trades last week's. Then Euro US dollar. There were a lot of trades last week, and this brought it to the positive region again. 860 up with Euro US dollar, and I think GBP US dollar should still be negative. Let me check this. GBP US dollar range breakout EA. Oh yes. Oh, it's very negative still. Minus 2k. That is it. Oh, but let's also check the gold. There were trades. I don't know if they were positive or negative last week, because I'm doing the weekly analysis here. Did not happen so much in the gold. And yeah, that's pretty much it. These are the strategies for the whole period. So we can see why the account was performing so poorly here in the last 2 or 3 weeks. It was, of course, mainly because of the stock market indices. And as I always said, it's just like this. This is why I was never really worried, because I just follow the index, like the indices. And if the index recovers, like we saw in the last week, the account will recover. It's just so simple, really. And at this point, I just believe that in the long run, the indices will increase in value. And that's basically why I trade the way I trade. And for some people, this might be too risky. For some people, the profit might be too small. For some people, I don't know, they just don't like my face. But in the end, I just try to bring you like the honest and transparent trading experience. And in my opinion, this is the only way to go. Just do the best possible research and the best possible testing you can before trading, and then just go for it. There's no guaranteed like road or path or strategy for success. It's always a risk. The more you risk, the more you can win. If you don't risk a lot, you cannot win a lot. If you don't, or if you want to win a lot, you have to be fine with the risk. And that's basically why I risk as much as I risk in this account. And this is fine for me, but I can totally understand that it's not fine for everyone. And that's okay. Like, not everyone has the same tolerance for risk. And you should always stay in your own comfort zone when it comes to trading. I mean, sometimes people say you have to get out of your comfort zone to grow in life. But I think for trading, you should, especially in the beginning, stay in your comfort zone, because there's a very big downside also when it comes to trading. And if you lose all of your invested capital, it should not have a too much of a negative impact in your life. Yeah, so these are some words about the performance in the account. I'm happy, and just a little update, just transparency, because we need more of this in the trading industry on YouTube. So yeah, that's from me. Thanks for watching. Have a great time. Good trades. I'm out. Bye.